In 2006, we erased it from the solar system. We called it a dwarf, a piece of dead floating debris, lost in the freezing dark. But when we finally sent a camera 4 billion miles into the abyss, what we found terrified us. We thought we would see a quiet frozen rock. Instead, we found a world with floating mountains of glass, skies that bleed red snow, and a giant pale heart made of boiling toxic poison. For 76 years, we called it a planet. Then we threw it away. But the exiled king of the solar system is not dead. It is a beautiful, freezing nightmare that eats everything it touches. This is the true story of Pluto. Imagine traveling into the abyss for almost a decade at 50,000 miles per hour. As you push further away from Earth, the sun slowly begins to shrink. It transforms from a blinding, life-giving star into just another bright point of light in an endless sea of black. By the time you reach the orbit of Pluto, the sunlight is hundreds of times dimmer than a cloudy afternoon on Earth. If you were standing on its surface, looking up at noon, the sky would not be bright blue. It would be pitch black, a permanent, freezing twilight. In the summer of 2015, our cameras finally pierced the veil. Right there, across the equator of this distant world, was a giant, perfectly shaped heart, a pale, beautiful anomaly shining in the dark. The media called it cute, a cosmic message of love, but planetary scientists knew the truth. That heart is not a symbol of love. It is a massive impact crater 1,000 miles wide, filled with a churning, boiling ocean of frozen poison. Scientists named it Sputnik Planitia, a colossal glacier made entirely of solid nitrogen, methane, and carbon monoxide. But here is the most shocking part. This glacier is not dead. Deep beneath the surface, Pluto's core still holds a tiny amount of radioactive heat. This faint warmth rises up, causing the frozen nitrogen to slowly boil and churn like a pot of thick, freezing soup. This process constantly erases any asteroid craters on the surface. Any space rock that hits this toxic ocean is slowly swallowed whole, dragged down into the freezing depths, and erased forever. It is a pristine white sea that consumes everything it touches. The true extreme nature of Pluto lies at the edges of this toxic sea. If you stood on the shores of Sputnik Planitia, you would see mountains towering thousands of feet into the black sky. On Earth, mountains are forged from rock. On Pluto, rock is entirely irrelevant. The surface temperature drops to minus 390 degrees Fahrenheit. At this extreme temperature, ordinary water ice becomes as hard as solid steel. Those mountains piercing the horizon are made entirely of solid water ice, jagged, razor-sharp peaks towering over 10,000 feet high. And because water ice is less dense than the heavy frozen nitrogen of the glacier, these massive mountain ranges do not sit on the ground. They float. They break off and drift across the toxic sea like giant, slow-moving icebergs. Imagine a mountain range the size of the Alps slowly drifting toward you across a plain of white poison. And if you look closely at these floating mountains, you will notice something deeply unsettling. The snow capping their peaks is not white, it is dark, blood red. When the faint ultraviolet light from the distant sun hits the frozen methane on Pluto's surface, it triggers a chemical reaction. It creates complex organic compounds called tholins. These tholins fall from the sky like a slow, eternal rain, coating the icy landscape in a layer of dark red dust. A freezing world covered with mountains of floating glass, stained red in the dark. For decades, we assumed Pluto was just a solid frozen rock all the way to its core. But the heavy weight of the nitrogen glacier in the heart region should have caused Pluto to roll over millions of years ago, but it didn't. The only way the physics makes sense is if there is something heavy acting as a counterweight deep underground. Scientists now believe that hiding beneath Pluto's frozen crust, there is a massive subsurface ocean of liquid water, kept from freezing by the pressure of the ice above and a trace of heat from below. In the darkest, coldest edge of the solar system, there might be a pitch-black underground ocean. And wherever there is liquid water, the ultimate question arises. Could something be swimming in the dark? We simply do not know. As our spacecraft sped away into the deeper Kuiper Belt, it turned its camera back to look at Pluto one last time. It captured the planet eclipsing the sun, and in that image, we saw an atmosphere. A delicate, glowing ring of blue surrounding a silhouette of pure black. Pluto has a blue sky, a breathtaking moment of beauty before we left it behind forever. But Pluto does not endure this bizarre existence alone. Locked in a permanent gravitational dance with Pluto is its largest moon, Charon. Charon is so incredibly massive compared to Pluto that they don't even orbit each other like a normal planet and moon. They orbit an empty point of space between them, a binary system spinning in the void. They are tidally locked. This means if you stand on one side of Pluto, Charon is always there, hanging massive and unmoving in the sky. It never sets, it never rises. It just watches you. And if you walk to the other side of Pluto, you will never see Charon at all. Charon itself is a tortured world. Its north pole is stained with a massive dark red spot called the Mordor Macula. This red stain is actually gas that escaped from Pluto's atmosphere, drifted through space, and froze onto the pole of its giant moon. They are two cosmic outcasts, sharing the same bleeding atmosphere, holding on to each other in the deepest ocean of our solar system. And dancing wildly around this central pair are four tiny chaotic moons, Nix, Hydra, Erebos, and Styx. They spin unpredictably, tumbling through the dark like shattered pieces of a forgotten collision, the final guardians of this frozen kingdom. We may have taken away its title, we may have called it a dwarf, but Pluto remains a king in his own right, the undisputed ruler of the Kuiper Belt, a world of red snow, floating mountains, underground oceans, and a beating, freezing heart. It doesn't need our validation. It will still be there, continuing its silent dance in the dark long after our own sun burns out. But as isolated and mysterious as Pluto is, its silence is a mercy. Because if you leave the Kuiper Belt and travel backwards, moving just a little closer to the sun, the silence disappears. It is replaced by a deafening roar. You will find a giant blue monster where the winds scream at 2,000 kilometers per hour, tearing the atmosphere apart, and the rain is made of solid diamonds. But that is a story for another time. Keep looking up and stay curious.